One thing that doesn't seem to have been picked up on was what to me was the remarkable idea that the royal family has an HR department, human resources department. And this is one of the places where Meghan turned to when she was feeling desperate. She went to the HR department, and apparently she spoke to a very nice lady who said, "Oh, that's terrible. Oh, what an awful time you've been having. I just so wish I could help." But then she looked in the list and she said, "Unfortunately, I've checked the payroll, and you don't seem to be there. So you're not classed as an employee. So I'm afraid we can't help you." So Meghan says, oh, okay, so that's the end of it, is it? She says, "Yes, I'm sorry. Sorry. Sad face emoji." And so Meghan goes off without any help. And so things got worse, and eventually they split off. But it occurred to me, if they did have a human resources department that was a proper human resources department that actually looked after family members as well as staff, we'd all know where we're up to a lot better, wouldn't we? A lot clearer. Think about what a human resources department does. I mean, the first thing it could do is an induction. When you go to a new job, you know what the job is, you know what the rate of pay is, you know what your tasks are supposed to be. I've got to do this much stuff. This is the nature of my task. I have to do it to these standards by this time, etc., etc., etc. It's all laid out. The trouble with Harry and Meghan and other royal jobs is they're not really specified, are they? They're not paid. I mean, they are paid, but it's, by the civil list, and it's complicated. If it was a firm, they call it the firm, you'd know what you're supposed to do. Because Harry and Meghan didn't have a clear expectation of what they would do, the suspicion, at least, is obvious to be, well, they didn't really have a job. They used to do official engagements, and I'm sure they were very conscientious, but it wasn't really a stated job. The other thing that an HR department can do is it can look after your mental welfare. I bet there's not a firm in the land now that hasn't got some kind of procedure for people who are mentally unwell. And I'm sure that they're, very, very kind and considerate and thought out policies. Another thing that an HR department will have is a policy about racism and discrimination. See, that was never done for the royals. And so the thing was never fixed. And the final thing that an HR department, or somewhere between an HR department and a PR department, can help with is whistleblowing. When somebody is so fed up with an organisation that they can't stand it anymore, and they go to the media with a big story, or they leave the organisation and then afterwards they go to the media with a story, or they go to the public with a story, it causes a huge amount of bad feeling. You can't get rid of it, but you can have mechanisms in place to deal with that when it happens. And of course there wasn't anything, because it's called the firm, but it's not a firm. You don't know who's in charge. Well, the Queen's in charge, but the Queen doesn't make decisions day to day. And there's a general culture of not talking to people. We don't have clear discussions in this firm about who does what, when, and how, and why, and what the disciplinary procedure is if you do it wrong, and all sorts of other things that you would get in normal life nowadays. But is it because it's not normal life? I mean, the Queen, they clearly respect the Queen, and they say that she's great, and she's a very nice, conscientious old lady. But like the other, she's very stiff, and stiff upper lip. Don't talk about it. Suffer in silence, and the whole lot of them are like that. So another thing that the HR department could organise is an official royal family psychotherapist, because they all need. I mean, how much would that cost? And even if Meghan wasn't officially entitled to help from that department, why don't they do it anyway? Why don't they just think a bit laterally? And why didn't they give the prince and other children the title of their sorry, that's the problem, isn't it? They're not princes. Why didn't they just do that anyway, for the sake of being kind and being nice? So I would propose that, as well as having an official royal family HR department, you have an official royal family psychotherapist. It probably would be a titled person, so that he or she would feel better talking to the royal clients. But they're all in need of it, aren't they? So if anybody would like to apply for that job, royal family psychotherapist, I'll put a word in for you if you like. I can't guarantee anything, but just put your name and details in the contact form below, and we'll see what you can do. That's it from me. I'll speak to you later. Cheers. Bye.